Hello and welcome to part 2 of our mega campaign. This is the EU4 episode, and as you can see right now, this is going to be an awful mega campaign. This is the British Empire, or how it's currently called, Britannia. It owns like all of this coastline, and the most eastern territory is actually over here. But I do believe that the second biggest power isn't actually the UN Empire, which is still Mongolian, by the way. It is actually these guys down here, currently in a Regency Council. But as soon as they're out of that, they can do some good old expansion. And I am terrified of them. There's obviously two big boy Arabian nations, that being the Seljuks and the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire is obviously the big one, but the Seljuk are not to be underestimated. And this is the faith map mode. So we got reformed Norse all over, actually. And there's only a few bastions of Catholicism left in this world, one of them being France. The other one of them being Greater Burgundy, and I'm not quite sure why they exist and as a vassal of France. We actually already have a big war right now, because the Indian nation right here has declared war on the Persian Empire. I don't know if that was a particularly good idea, but they are definitely currently pushing and winning. The ally to this random nation here, which is in the Caucasus. I'm not really sure what it is, but it's Hindu. I'm pretty sure it's Mongol too. Oh yeah, what I haven't mentioned yet is the culture map mode. As you saw, like everywhere, there is a bunch of Norse all around the globe. And over here there is actually Romsborgian. I don't really know what that particularly is, but it is definitely of the Nordic culture. We are currently seeing something very good happen. Something that I hope would happen, because there's a bunch of separatists currently rising up within the British Empire. Well, Britannia. I always say British Empire, but they're actually just Britannia. Including, apparently, Byzantine separatists over here in southern Italy. That is most likely because of their culture, which is actually Byzantine culture, whilst over here that's just Greek. The Kievan Rus are actually right here. They're trying to invade someone, but are being invaded over here. I don't think it was a particularly good strategy to invade these people down here, but they are at Sodom. And I'm pretty sure that's Jewish. The Indian nation actually did win that war against the Persian Empire, which made the Seljuk Empire go to war with the Persian Empire too. Only the Seljuks aren't doing too well. Greece got their independence over here. They are currently a duchy, but I think it's very good that they got that. I mean, only a few could actually muster up enough of a separatist force to get their independence. Byzantium is back in Napoli, and over here. So the Byzantine Empire is actually back again. Just Sunni, don't question it. Crimea, why not? Why doesn't Crimea own Bulgaria? The Seljuk are actually doing the work in Persia right now. The Persian Empire is being attacked from two sides yet again, by both the Seljuk and the Indians. The capital is now sieged down and in Indian hands once more. The Indians actually have plus 25 on their war, while the Seljuks have plus 74. I don't think it's going very well for the Persian Empire at all. More and more stuff is getting their independence from the British Empire. Catalonia is now here, and there is a good chance that we might see a Lithuania pop out at some point. The most Western Mongol culture is actually over here, in this very province of Altmark. I don't know why it's Mongolian, but it certainly is Mongolian. It's under a French guy. Why is Saxony French? And Lithuania is a thing now, look at them go. And it's Norse, for fuck's sake. The Yuan are scary. Very scary indeed. Jesus Christ. Wait, Byzantium happens, what? Wait, hold on a second. Serbia. It's also got Cyprus by the Elder Gods. It has a bunch of cores on Italy, a few cores over here, and a few cores on Anatolia. But not that many cores, because of the cultural conversion, let's say. The Netherlands formed and they invaded Denmark. And their separatists are also doing the work right now, as Sardinia and Corsica is currently fully sieged down by Byzantine separatists. The Indians' most western territory is this little bit of Sicily. Grenada is here. That's awesome. Why are you this? Why do you have 22,000 men to just throw at the Mongolians? What? Okay, I just want to take a little bit of a look at the Crimean Empire currently. The Crimean Empire currently consists of half of Crimea, a little bit over here in Odessa, a little bit over here inland, a bit of Anatolia. Oh, don't tell me! The Indian nation went complete exploration ideas. That is a very interesting development. Britannia didn't actually go exploration ideas for the first idea, so I am very, very interested to see how the new world is gonna turn out, especially this right here. They're in a constant state of warfare with Yu-Tsang. I'm not sure why they haven't just subjugated them yet or annexed them in any way. They have just been invading them over and over again. And also Mongolia. The empire is growing at a rapid pace. They have some course. Jesus Christ, they own most of southern Italy now. Well, I guess they took my advice to heart and immediately annexed most of the Yu-Tsang territory, which is quite nice if I do say so myself, but they are immediately faced with more and more rebels that are trying to, you know, make the Chinese empire be a Chinese empire, not a Mongolian one. Austrian separatists. Austrian separatists. Yeah, sure, why not? Crimea is growing larger and larger. I am not sure why, but there are just more and more Crimean separatists rising up all over the Britannian Empire. I'm very, very confused. Meanwhile, France is just straight up chilling with French South Germany over here. They got this entire landmass and the beautiful city of Ulm just under their belt. And they're at it again. Oh my god. Just leave the Persians be for like half a decade. Yuan. Look at them go. I hate them so much. So France has actually decided to invade Britannia with the help of Milan. Britannia is entirely sieged down by like everyone. Britannia is not doing too well. They are in a bunch of wars and they are not going to get out of this in a freebie. There's actually a vassal of them too, which is here, but don't worry about it, because Ferrara ain't doing Ferrara good anymore. What? The Indians have arrived in India. The Indians have arrived in Australia, and now they have an easier time colonizing all of this stuff. But this is a good start to their colonizing endeavors. The British Empire has been sieged down for an unfathomable amount of time, and they don't seem to be giving up anytime soon. Don't worry about why they're not giving up. They just know it. They just don't want to do it. Byzantium is occupying Crimea. They're also occupying Serbia. They are going full control mode here. I am just rooting for the Byzantine Empire. The Sunni Byzantine Empire. It seems like the French have finally peaced out, and instead of taking this territory, which would have been, you know, the correct play, they have taken a bit of Cornwall. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for the Dutch right there. Yeah, ain't looking too hard. Can't make it through the door, man. Byzantium owns this. Byzantium owns this inland territory. What the? Estonia, Hanover, Seljuk, Australia. Seljuk, Australia. The Seljuk also went exploration idea, I guess, and absolutely no one has made it to America so far. The natives are just having a little bit of a rumble-tumble. Meanwhile, over here, the Yuan Empire! Britannia once ruled the waves, doesn't anymore. They really suck, actually. Hold on just a moment here. Baghdad. Why is Ethiopia over here? Why is Austria? Why is Austria down here? Why do you have a core on this province? Why are you invading the Persian Empire? Now what do we have here? The Yuan Empire with the Yuanese Dindies, I see. So something very peculiar has happened. Seeing this down here, Milan actually grew a ton over on the Italian peninsula. They have now taken these little things because that's actually occupied by the Holy Roman Emperor. But they have not only taken Rome and thereby have occupied Rome and are now getting closer to forming the Italian kingdom. No, they have also taken a little bit over here in Scotland. Yes, that is Milan right there. Don't worry about it. Also, Ireland just invaded Britannia, so everyone's just kind of invading Britannia. No one likes them. They're cringe. Everyone thinks the same. I do want to emphasize that France is currently trying to take over Scandinavia. They've actually conquered a bunch of territory from Sweden, and now they do own all of this territory. They also own a little bit of Denmark and a bit of Germany up here. This is in, you know, contrast with them not owning southern France. But also Italy formed, which is a new nation right there. Look at them go. They have a bunch of claims all over the Italian peninsula, obviously, and they are currently at war with a few Italian miners. They are trying to take the territory back, obviously. So I'm not an expert in anything, but if I were to call my expertise into this, you know, case, I would say that Ireland not taking these two very Irish provinces, but instead taking half of Wales, I think that's a bit incorrect. And I also think that Wales existing is a bit incorrect. And I also think that Estonia taking this rather than this is a little bit incorrect. But I also believe that, you know, Italy taking that, bit incorrect. That's also Estonia. Poland is definitely going for a little bit of a Black Sea strategy. They have, instead of, you know, focusing on the Baltic, which they hold no port over here, they have decided to go entirely south and, you know, set up a little bit of a ring formation around the Black Sea. They hold a bunch of Anatolia, and one of the provinces they hold is actually Constantinople, which is very interesting because Constantinople is still Persian. The Byzantine Empire is doing the gods' work right now. Let them go! They have conquered even more of the Crimean Khaganate. They have now connected their Greek territory down here. They only have to take out these two invading boys, and they have now, you know, a majority of Greece. They have their friend here in a one province, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the friend is, because they can just invade them to the goddamn point. And also they own a little bit of territory over here. The Byzantine Empire is basically the big boy power of the Mediterranean Sea. Now the Irish invaded them again, didn't take the rest of Ireland, took this instead. Now I'm not quite sure of why this is happening, but it certainly is happening. As you can see right there, the Koreans are invading the Yuan Empire, and they're doing a good job of it. They have plus 35 actually, which I'm not quite sure how they did it. Oh, that's probably why actually. Their military level is only 13, whilst the Korean military level is 15. 2 whole techs ahead of them. But still, they have 245,000 men, whilst over here, that's 93,000, which is still a lot, by the way. It's just, you know, once significantly bigger. But the problem is here probably that they are in 2 other wars. They are in a war with Brunei and in a war with the Indians. Now, I am quite unsure what Korea is trying to do here, but I feel like they misclicked a lot during that peace deal. Fellas, the Kievan Rus are again destroyed. There seems to be a running theme with this campaign. The Kievan Rus were again invaded, this time by Poland, and a bunch of the territory is now scattered all around. Kiev is now a Polish city, and their new capital is in Chernigov, a also known kingdom of this mega campaign. Belgrade was so cool, so cool. Now we only have little Serbia. That England's here now. Look at them. It's Duke Richard III Gorbald. This little Central Asian nation has decided to defeat the Yuan Empire. The Yuan Empire is definitely not what it's cracked up to be anymore. They are not doing too well in any respect, actually. Even the Khotan, which have grown a significant amount in the last few years, have now decided to declare war on them and actually took their European territories. Granada peaced out with Britannia at long last. They have, instead of taking all of these provinces, not done that. Austria is growing, and that they are doing fine. They have now not only doubled, but quadrupled their amount of territory. They have 3 whole provinces down here in the Mediterranean. The first colonies have settled into America. As you can see right here, we got Byzantine Brazil, which currently is right here. They are being occupied by some random native, I presume, but that does not matter. It's the biggest colony that is currently over here in the New World. And the UN are getting invaded again. Mongolia has actually grown in this invasion right here. A lot of people are actually invading these goddamn UNs. Mongolia is going in, I guess now. No, that's Kyrma. I do not quite know what Kyrma is, but it's definitely something. It's Vietnam. It's Vietnam. Vietnam is invading China.
Hanover. It's Hanover.
It's Hanover. It's Hanover. Why do you own Ireland? The first nation to make it to the west coast of America is actually Scotland. They don't really own anything over here anymore. They are now completely focusing on their colonial ambitions. They also had a little bit of territory down here until Muisca took it. Anyways, back to the last goodbye. Hold on a second. It is with a heavy heart that I have to say, Italy stole Scotland's colonies. Like, what the hell? That's just cruel. Cruel, I say. Cruel. Cruel. No one really knew what the French were planning around here. They conquered all of Scandinavia and just as fast as the Dutch fell and rose again. The biggest rival at this point was their own empire, and a little blob they called Poland. Poland is an interesting one, killing the Kievan rulers and always going a little bit more east. Truly the most aggressive one in this continent, only compared to by the Byzantine Empire. From rigs to ranches doesn't even cover it with these fellas. They were virtually non-existent at the end of CK2 and look at where they are now. A truly interesting empire. I still find it hard to believe that the Rashtrakutas are still an empire worth living. An empire this massive should have died a long time ago, but yet here it stands. Whilst their compadre on the east fell apart harder than anything I'd ever seen. The brotherly rivalry is also gone for a long time now. The Persian Empire fell apart about 100 years ago, and the Seljuk are still ruling Iberia like it was meant to be. Rashtrakuta only took a little bit over 100 years ago and never took more. And finally, Britannia. Britannia once ruled the waves, the coasts, and everything that could be called water. But now they are a shadow of their former self, with the only thing still under them being 2 lousy cities on the British Isles and some uncolonized territory in Iberia and Scandinavia. Truly a downfall if I've ever seen one. The New World has taken a bit of a shape. There's 3 big competitors for any new kind of land that could be popping up at any moment now. The Scottish have decided to take good interest in the northern bits of America. They've already taken Florida, a bit of Maine, and a few strongs in between. The Byzantines have decided to go on a South American expedition where they've never come back, establishing Byzantine Brazil, Peru, and La Plata. They might just not be contested. The French have gone for a Central American approach, an approach only bested by the ones below it. Conquering most of the coastline around the Caribbean and the entire Caribbean is truly a feat worth admiring. The Khotan junta has finally done it. They have conquered a bunch of East Asia. They are truly one of the greatest nations to come out of this world. Growing alongside the Rashtrakutas, gobbling up the Persian Empire and Siberia. Truly one of the big boys around these parts. The only unfortunate thing is that the majority of Rashtrakutas' army is still captured within their own territory, just surrounded by the enemy. No one really knows why they did it. But we are certain that they did. Duh! I don't know what happened. Get it away from me. So, I'm back. Hey, how's it going? It's me. According to the game, Korea is actually the Empire of China. So Poland is actually a very big power. It's even bigger than you would normally expect. Seeing the diplomatic map mode here, they actually do own all of this territory, but they also have two vassals, one of which is Vladimir and the other one of which is Norway. Both vassals are, you know, pretty sizable if I do say so myself. I'm not sure how they got these, probably just through conquest, but also they have, you know, taken over territory like Novgorod, entirely annexed that territory, and they have just been growing over the past, you know, century basically, and they have taken pieces of Anatolia and even, you know, the city of Constantinople. Now I do think that I have to emphasize the sheer size of Khotan, and if you actually take a deeper look at the Khotan Empire, you might just see that little bit of a dynasty that they have going inside of them. Oh, that's just lovely, isn't it? Now let's look at the code. It's the Second Mongolian Empire. They also have a bunch more units than their partner to the south. They have 340,000 troops, while the ones to the south only have 227. They actually only have military 20, whilst they have military 22. So I'm guessing Raj Takutas is just way worse at, you know, armies than Khotan is, and Khotan also invaded China again, and with China I mean they invaded Korea and Korea lost. Korea is not doing so well as the Emperor of China, but China is just not doing too well after the yuan fell, so that's just kind of a theme. What I have also neglected to mention is that Brunei has been silently growing. It's just been growing on the west coast like Jesus Christ. Brunei has also gotten a little bit of Mexico, a little bit over here of Canada, a bit of California, and then the Seljuk are also here. But the French have also been doing their Quebec business, and they have been, you know, at war with the Iroquois Confederacy for a little while now, but they haven't really done anything, and Italy has been failing to siege this province down, because their army is... Oh. Well, I spoke too soon. China is just not doing too well anymore. Yuan has been completely and utterly destroyed. Now we have the second part of a sneeze, and Yuan is only over here. But Japan's here now. That's awesome. You see, we got Japan, but we just don't have this, do we? What I also want to mention is that the Rashtrakuta is not white anymore. They're now in better color. They're now a prettier color to look at. I'm not sure why they changed color, but they certainly did that, didn't they? Granada is very much a big player in this very weird timeline. Like, Jesus, god damn. They are currently being sieged down by Italy, who owns Finland. And here's a little look at the British Isles. We obviously have Estonia, France, Hanover, and Italy, all on this island. Oh, there's a bit of Granada too. Why the hell not? Also, here's a fun fact about Estonia. It owns none of Estonia anymore. Estonia is now completely owned by Italy and fucking Crater Julie. I'm getting to them. Okay, Estonia is currently winning a war against Italy, which will likely expand their territory within the British Isles, but you know, it's Estonia. Don't exactly belong in the British Isles. But what they do belong to is the Greater Eurasian Empire, because what is this even? Like, okay, what, why? Why do you own this? But at least we also have a little bit of a funny one. We have Morocco, which owns a bit of Norway. Morocco. You know, just to update on this Granada thing that's going on, they're not doing too well anymore. That's a lot of people starving in Canada. Is that how they got the name Canada? They looked down here in Spain and then just very much misspelled the name of this province. And also an update on this northern war over here. Estonia is no longer doing too well. This war was also against Italy, so you would expect as much. But you know, only having this territory and then having 63,000 men out of it, you know, that's kind of based, honestly. What is the most developed province in this entire world? It seems to be this one right here with 64. What? Oh, it's connected. It's connected, Mets. The war in Granada has ended, and now there are 142,000 Italian people standing in Granada, which was their capital, so they didn't take anything but their capital. Yeah, this was worth it, Italy. This was worth it. And also this Estonian war on the British Isles is ended, with English separatists rising up in Italy. But also, you know, Estonia is now only a few states. They still can muster an army of 18,000 men, but, you know, they have lost the majority of their territory to the Italians in Britain. Estonia has lost the majority of their territory to Italians in Britain. POV, you don't get imperialized once. What do? That's right, you take Taiwan. Yes, Russia could as, why not? It's been a good run, I must say. It has been a phenomenal run for the Seljuks, but now they are getting invaded by, I believe it's 4 different powers. Constantinople, owned by Poland since 1555. Now rebelled against them to go to the Seljuk, which are currently, and I repeat, getting invaded from 4 different powers. Is there a worse time you could have picked? And this is my final proclamation that the Persian Empire is entirely dead. The former Persian Empire, this nation right here, is now known as Ardabil. They are no longer, you know, the Persian Empire, and are now a vassal of Khotan, which is basically the Mongol Empire. So we actually got one of the rarest things in a mega campaign. A stable and everlasting Mongol Empire. Whoopsie whoopsie doopsie flobopsie. We have someone very, very interesting here in Europe. That's correct, we got the revolutionary France. It is already an empire with a 666 ruler. That's Alice I, the Ficquelmont. Don't question it, but the thing is that we have a big boy French nation, which is invading everyone as usual. So, as you can see right here, when we look at the Frenchy boys, we have them at war with the entirety of the German, you know, with the Germans, also known as the Holy Roman Empire. We have a little bit of Ireland, we have a little bit of England, we got Italian Britain, just Italian Britain, eh? Here's an interesting thing I have seen the French AI do. They have supported the independence of Byzantine Brazil, Byzantine La Plata, and Grenadian La Plata. This basically led to Byzantine Brazil having a liberty desire of 100%, Byzantine La Plata having a liberty desire of 100%. So they are not only lifted by, you know, there being a revolutionary country, but they are also lifted by them guaranteeing their independence. It's not doing well for them. Also, the United States is a kingdom, and it's Elisorian. Fellas, we are the Byzantine Empire, Constantinople. Once more, they have won a war with Poland, which I didn't even notice, and they got back Constantinople and this territory right here. So the Byzantine Empire has truly made a comeback. Now, obviously, there's still a little bit of a Persian problem in that city, but I am sure that the Byzantine Empire will eradicate that problem without any further notice. Poland diplomatically annexed the good old Norwegians. It is truly unfortunate how they went out. You could have really gotten any death, and the death you got was being a vassal of Poland, but I guess it's fine. The next one on the chopping block is probably Vladimir over here. So I do have to say that currently Europe is embroiled in war. The revolutionary French have decided to declare war on most of the continent. Well, actually they declared war on these boys over here, but everyone was in a coalition against them just because they suck. They suck ball sacks, actually. So everyone on the continent had just decided to declare war on France as well. We got all of this red stuff just against the blue blob and her ally of Hauserland. Sure, obviously they are not doing as well as they did in any other war. They're still doing better than most, to be honest. I don't really know how you're winning with your 600,000 men against Italy's 500,000 alone, you know? They have 200 here. Poland just annexed Vladimir. It's so big. Poland is so big. The borders are actually beginning to become less and less awful to look at if you don't look over here. If you go over here to China, you actually realize that it's become better and better. Khotan has eaten up a bunch of this stuff. There's just, you know, cursed stuff like Malacca owning this piece of China, and, you know, Japan not owning this island. These are just kind of cursed things, and not necessarily things that are necessarily wrong with it. So I'm pretty interested by this French war right here. They are currently at war with the majority of the European continent. Just take a look at it. That's so much. One of them being Italy, one of, you know, the biggest powers in the entirety of Europe. But Italy is actually putting up one hell of a fight down here. They have, you know, caught a few French, you know, troops off guard, but the majority of the army is still up here trying to, you know, siege down the Hanoverians, which have actually established quite an empire, if I do say so myself. Here's a little check-in on the French. They have this vassal right here. They have 26,000 men. I don't know how they got that. And they also have the Abdenakadali Federation in America. They only own this little bit anymore, you know, they're not doing too well. Once they own, you know, the entirety of this, don't anymore. Ain't doing too hot. Mexico and the revolutionary French actually won the war because Hanover decided to give up. And with give up, I mean they gave up the province of Hanover, so that's a pretty big, you know, L. But the United States of America is having a good day today, isn't it? Right here, the United States. I still cannot fathom the just superiority of Khotan. They have done so many things, and they still have cores. They do have a mission tree, I wanna die. So, I just want to mention a very, very big boy. A big boy that is most likely gonna get eaten up in the conversion, because over here we have Hazaland, which, you know, that's a pretty big African nation, you would say, and I'd say the same. But then you look over here, and they have bits of Egypt, they have bits of Ethiopia, they have even more bits of Egypt, hey, they have bits of Anatolia, hey, that's Hungary, oh, why do you have this? Why do you have this one province? You don't make any sense! You make less sense than the Pirates! And look at their empire! They go from fucking Austria to China! What are you doing? I do not understand these empires in my mega campaign here. We got we get Greater Yulri, and their empire is just random bits of the fucking planet all over the goddamn place. We got Italy, which, okay, it's got northern Italy. They are doing that correctly. Oh, they got a little bit of France. I mean, Italy, how do you not do that? And there's just Italian Britain. Then they're over here. There's Italian Scandinavia and the Italian Baltic, and they own fucking Gotland. Oh yeah, I never, okay. This one never ceases to amaze me. It's Poland, baby. It's Poland, baby. Look at them go. They have cores all over this goddamn place, and they have been kicked out by Hasseled and Byzantium. Why? Because they suck balls. The French Empire is invading America. To be more specific, the United States of America, baby. Because it's the Second French Revolutionary War against American. So unfathomably based. Japan owns Florida. Japan owns Florida. Here's a little known fact about this world. Scandinavia looking kinda, you know, cringe, you know? It's completely divided between everything and everyone. But it actually isn't. Scandinavia is a country. It's right there. It's an Istria. It's revolutionary Scandinavia. A vassal of Italy. Now, I'm not one to judge, but I don't think that 111,000 peasants are on this island. I see. Frankly, we could just be living in a post-Bermuda genocide world. Where, you know, the British Empire had 101,000, you know, peasants rise up on Bermuda and then they killed them all. I wish to mention that the United States of America is now only here. They don't own any of this anymore. Just They are cooped back with less land. Bohemia is now a march of Italy. That basically means they are a vassal with more privileges and more capacity to build a military. I'm not really sure why Italy invaded them just to get them to be a march, but I mean, sure. And I mean, sure, why wouldn't this happen? Byzantine Empire. Austria migrated from the province of Isel. Just put an end there and then you get what Austria is. They migrated from there all the way over, just a little bit over here, and then they are now here. At the end of this mega campaign, I do really wonder where Austria is going to be. Poland was invaded once more by Rusland and a little bit of Greater Jülich, and now they're only, you know, this little bit right here. They are truly not doing well anymore, and they have fallen back from the other great powers. Speaking of, these are the great powers. On number 1 we have revolutionary France, closely followed by Italy, Rashtrakuta, Byzantium, Hazaland, Khotan, Kilwa, and Ajudava. Honestly, I didn't even know this empire existed, but apparently they have an empire. Well, where's your empire? Where is your empire? Oh, there, you have a little bit of Alaska. Yeah, that's a great power right there if I've ever goddamn seen one. Apparently, they own this. A little bit over here. A few islands. A bit of New Zealand. And then Alaska. Yeah, that's great power. I'm very, you know, concerned about Hazaland when we convert it to Victoria too. Because I'm going to always choose the option to, you know, put a bunch of countries out of Africa, and they are very much in that zone right there. And they own just a bit of Europe, as you can see right here. So I'm not really, you know, sure what the game is gonna do. I hope the game does something interesting and not just delete the entirety of Hazaland and just make it uncolonized territory in the middle of Europe. That would be weird. Very weird, actually. It would be funny, though. We have reached January 1st, 1836. This is the world map. How we will convert it to Victoria 2. Now, obviously, most of this is gonna be nothing, because these guys are gonna get scraped from the map. I'm not sure about you. And let's take a look about the world, shall we? We obviously got the Byzantine South America. It's just the entirety of South America is in Byzantine hands, with the exception of Grenada and La Plata. Just also Grenada and La Plata, and these little boys down here. We have a strong independent Mexico. They are currently at war with France, actually, which is, you know, a defender against them. So I'm not really sure what the Mexicans are gonna do with that war in Victoria too. And the northern part of America, it's very bad. These boys down up here, actually, these boys down here actually got Hudson Bay. They defeated the French for it, which is interesting, and these guys exist, which is very interesting, very much so. The United States of America are basically a joke at this point, and the capital is... Let's look at the capital, shall we? Yeah, it's right here. There's obviously a big boy Brunei in the continent. Texas, Louisiana, and New Brunei are all, you know, just... It's just Brunei, it's just this one island which is just doing very well for some reason. And they are doing a fine job indeed. Now we have the Khotan Empire, which is the Mongol Empire with a new name. Now the Khotan are going to be uncivilized going into Victoria too. They own a bunch of China, which is a bunch of, you know, people they own. That's a big boy people. They obviously have some cleanup to do with the Yuan Empire, some Dzunga Khanate, some Rashtrakuta they have to clean up. And that's probably gonna be a big boy task for them. Rashtrakuta themselves are also going to be, you know, not westernized. But let's get to the nations that are actually westernized. And that would be every one of these fucking idiots. We got Italy, we got France, we got Hanover, we got Italy again, we got Poland, everywhere but Poland, we got Ulrich, everywhere but Ulrich. This is going to be a very interesting Victoria 2 game. Mostly because there's a bunch of, you know, German territory right here. The Hanoverians basically put on a Russian face today, and well, let's just click on that country so we can have a better look at the culture map mode. So these are the cores that Germany is going to get. There's a bunch of French here, a bit too much, in fact. It's like, we definitely saw the Franconization of these provinces. For example, Ulm is still a Swabian, which is absolutely fine. But then look around it, and they're surrounded by French people, which is very bad. So Hanover is not gonna get cores on this, neither is Germany, which they will likely form. They can only form Germany if they actively go after France and invade them multiple times to get all that land. Today I am going to give the Stupid Nation Award to the Perotsids, because they are basically Transcaucasia from CK2, and they are going from Austria all the way to China. There is nothing connected. It's just ginormous chunks of land that no one gives a shit about. But a greatest comeback I will have to give to the Byzantine Empire. They didn't even exist in the conversion. They just came back. They just had, that little, good idea. Hey, how about we come back? But they came back in this very province, which at the time, and still is, was Sunni. So we have a Sunni Byzantine Empire, which is just very funny. It's just very funny to me. Which led them to, ally a bunch of Sunni nations, which is a very good strategy if you're trying to grow, but not a particularly good strategy if you're, trying to grow. But I hope that in Victoria 2 they are able to get all of this territory back. And that's gonna be it for this video. The EU4 portion of the mega campaign is now completely done, and I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, because at this point I have been recording for 8 hours. So many damn hours. So many damn hours. Help me.